So the next thing we're going to go through is the class planning worksheet. So this is just to give you an idea to help you understand how best to plan your class. So the first section that we're going to go through is the skill. So what it is that you're actually teaching. Now I'm going to stick with roundhouse kick like I mentioned in previous videos, just to give you a bit of an example. So the skill of the day would be the roundhouse kick. Again, the main coaching point might be, as we previously mentioned, using a roundhouse kick to cover distance. This could be one technique. Doesn't always have to be the actual task or the actual thing that you're trying to gain. For example, I can move in with a side kick, I can move in with a roundhouse kick, I can move in with a hook kick, but try to keep it relatively specific, just because you don't want to open it up too much, because then it can lead to a little bit of confusion that way. So the main coaching point again might be the fact that we're trying to close the gap, and then why this I'm helping set up other techniques and begin to attack. Why else does it matter? So another thing that I think of is non-telegraphic motion. So if I can practice doing that, I'm building up the strength in my legs in order to push me forwards. There's lots going on there, but again, we won't get into it too much because it's about the class planning, not about roundhouse kicks. And that, pick the main coaching detail. We've done that. How will I freshen the drill? So what will I do? So what we'll do is we'll continue on from here, because when we get into this bit, this bit will make more sense. So how will students use this in something more alive? So these are the things that we're going to ask ourselves as we're going into, into this. So choose your switch. So in and snapping the roundhouse kick out. So okay, so I'm working on the technique. The next thing I might start to do is I might start to change the range. So I'm starting to increase the distance, and then I might challenge myself. So again, going back to the leg strength, and then if I give myself a huge gap, and we'll go through all this when we do on the live video, I can bounce my way in. The rhythm, that could be something as simple as the pad person's giving me a rhythm. So it could be they've got their hand on the pad, and as soon as their hand moves, I've got a roundhouse kick as quickly as I can, and so on and so forth. And again, I'm just throwing these out. You don't have to pick 5 in order to build a class up, but this might be ways that you can use the exact same technique to build more drills. Response, what is it my partner's doing? Are they moving back so that I have to double that kick up? Are they moving forward so that I have to recover and think of something else to do? Fire, what else can't I fire? So how will I use it? And then again, I've got, it says optional second switch. So I could just pick one of these and I could go off that, or I could pick another one. So this is the start. Again, we went into this a little bit before. How will I teach the skill clearly? So what language do I need to use? Important thing about teaching as well is I always think, miss things out on pivot this foot. We're going to make sure we chamber this leg. We're going to make sure our backhand's nice and tight. We're going to make sure our front hand's relaxed out so that we can keep our balance, and so on and so forth. Then you've already forgotten about the first couple of things that I mentioned. So pick one done around, one thing that everyone in the class or most people in the class are struggling with, and then we'll go from there. And then how will I make the rep feel fresh? What am I changing it to? Am I changing also the situation? Was it on a bag? Do I now want to do this next drill with a partner because I'd like to make it a little bit more live? And then the stress again. So what challenge, reaction, or resistance will I add? So this can be literal resistance. Resistance bands are a good one, especially when we're working anything, trying to build a strength in our legs and our arms. And again, stress and show. So stress is putting the pressure on, so we are more likely to emerge, more likely to come out. So lesson check. Can the class, as something we mentioned previously, clearly tell what the main skill is? Okay. In some cases, if they're young kids, they might not be able to, but there should be a reoccurring picked up on. Can the class clearly tell what the main coaching point is? This might be less so, because sometimes you might teach the class attacking or I'm defending, but actually because you've spent all your time showing it, which is a good thing, fully get it here and be able to verbalize it, but they might get it on the mats, which is not a bad thing. And the class clearly tell how the skill will show up live. So you would use this whether it's through class chats or whether it's part of the demonstration and explanation. The case sometimes of getting them to get it rather than explain it too much. But as they understand it, as they've done it a few times, then it will become more apparent to them what it is that they're trying to achieve. So again, final reminder for the class, cannot tell what the main skill is. If you get to the end and you've done 5,000 roundhouse kicks and they don't know that you've been working on roundhouse kicks, something gone wrong there. Maybe they're on another planet, but think about how you could simplify the plan. We just need to keep it super simple so that the techniques and what are actually trying to achieve is coming out, is emerging. Hope that makes sense.